This is Rogers TV, Durham Region. The opinions expressed in the following program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers nor Rogers TV.
Hello everyone, this is your COVID-19 local update. I am Deborah Hutchison in the Rogers TV studio. They are called Caremongers, volunteers across the country really that are joining forces to help our most vulnerable during COVID-19, delivering supplies and food to people who are isolated or who are in quarantine. Zack Simmons is founder of the Caremongers Oshawa and Clarington group, and he joins us now via video. Hey, Zack, how are you?
I'm doing really good today, Deborah, and how are you doing?
Oh, we're good here. Talk to me about how this all started.
Yeah, so I have friends in China and North Italy who were talking about their experiences as the lockdown was coming in place, and one of them posted a really inspiring article about university students in Italy who were taking the risk of going out there to make sure seniors were supported. I later saw that there was a group called Caremongering TO. And, you know, to be honest, I did what you do in the internet age. I copy and pasted a bunch of stuff, started a group, and what I thought was going to be me and 8 friends running around and helping our grandma's buddies turned into something a lot bigger.
How long did it take to really catch on?
It was almost immediate. We were entering into the hundreds and then well over 1,000 members. Oh, geez, within a week or two. It was lightning fast.
That is incredible. What does it take to coordinate that many people?
It takes a lot of patience, compassion, and forward thinking. There's a lot of people, and we come from all walks of life. So there's former business owners, there's people like me who are in an earlier stage of their career. There's single moms on ODSP, and everybody is doing amazing things. You wouldn't believe the sorts of skills that people really have hidden within them, and just kind of how when you put a caring community together, it unlocks that potential, and the teamwork allows people to step into their own. It's kind of a community where everyone can be a leader, where everyone's contribution is valued, and where I think you can make some really good connections that make you feel better about yourself.
You know, if you were a little cynical about the world and about humanity these days, this is a story that really restores your faith, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. I've made the comment a couple of times that the Zack that people are seeing right now is not the gloomy, Gus, pessimistic Zack that people are usually encountering on the streets. It does. You know, it's remarkably rewarding when you've dropped something off and then someone gives you or a volunteer a call back to let you know how much it's helped. You know, it puts that extra beat in your heart.
How does it work, Zack? Take me from, you know, the very beginning. If, you know, somebody gets in contact with your group and says, you know, I'm a senior, I can't get out, you know, I'm really low on food. What happens from there?
All right. So it depends on how someone reaches out to us. They can get in contact over our Facebook group, Caremongers Oshawa and Clarington, and they can also give a call to a 1-888 number. And what happens is it goes in our group to a central voicemail box. Our volunteers check the box and take the call, take some notes, and they get back in contact with the person. They listen, they hear the person's story, and then we try our best to connect the resources that we know are in the community to that individual. So sometimes it's helping trying to find a repair person, something along those lines. But a lot of the times it might just be, you know, hey, I can't go out and get my groceries. I can pay by check. Can you help out? And, you know, take their list and match up a volunteer who has the time to that individual and make sure everything is safe, make sure that everything is effective, and that both volunteer and patron walk away feeling good.
Let's talk about infection control too, because you don't know the situation of the home you're going into. They don't know you. How do you ensure protection on both sides?
We try to keep everything contactless. We do not try to go into homes. We try our best to leave things in lobbies, on porches. Our volunteers are given masks, they're given gloves, they're given hand sanitizer. We do a check with people. We ask if they've been, feeling symptoms. And we make sure that people know that there is no shame in feeling sick, and that when you are feeling sick, if you have any questions about how you're feeling, stay home. It's a great community, and someone else can always step up to the plate. Our big thing is we want to be responsible community partners that allow for people to practice appropriate social distancing and self-isolation. We don't want anyone to feel lonely, but we have to take precautions both for our patrons and our volunteers. So everything's sprayed down with a bleach solution when it's donated. It's stored separately. People wash their hands in our central location when moving between tasks. Gloves are changed. And we talk with public health. We talk with experts in order to make sure that what we're doing is appropriate.
I've read that you frequently hear from people who are on ODSP, on the Ontario Disability. Tough times out there for them.
Yes. It is a real challenge. Individuals on Ontario Works, ODSP, and various other social supports, they're having a hard time a lot making it to the month and having to make some very difficult choices. I think more than any other time in my life, it's people saying, is it rent or food? And for a lot of people, that's a heartbreaking situation. I know during Easter, I spoke with a mother who was really afraid she wasn't going to be able to get her daughter an Easter gift. So, we just made sure she got some modeling clay and art supplies, and some food. It's a difficult thing. People aren't always primed to reach out and ask for assistance. People are proud and they have a right to be, but there's no reason for indignity. There's no reason to go hungry. If we can't help, we do our best to match people with the appropriate services and provide them with information so they can approach them and seek the help that they need.
Do you think this is something, obviously it has caught on and it has done so much good, and there are so many people out there that need your help. Is this something that you foresee continuing well into the future?
My plan for this has always been providing comfort so that this disruption doesn't become suffering. I don't think that Caremonger needs to exist as an organization past the pandemic. We're filling in gaps that were already there in society. We're creating community opportunities that really should have been there before. I'm hoping that when this is all done, we can have a barbecue, say goodbye to the call-in line, and meet each other face to face, and then take the experiences that we've had and offer that to other organizations, whether it's within the workplace for some volunteers, or whether it's to continue it on to work in other locations in Oshawa or Durham Region. Starting out at a soup kitchen like St. Vincent Pilates or DePaul, and places like Backdoor Mission to enable a new passion. I think that that's what I would like to see when this is all over, is that people have a new sense of community, a new sense of togetherness, and that Caremonger won't really need to exist, that people will have learned the skills they need to support the community and to kind of start their own things.
How many hours a week do you figure you and other volunteers spend on this endeavor?
It's hundreds of hours, I would say. If you factor in everyone together, People are getting up at 8 a.m. They're going to bed way past, or, ending their tasks way after 9 p.m. to make sure we're all caught up. We're in constant communication with each other. It doesn't operate 24/7, but we're there for each other 24/7. It is a little time consuming at times, but again, it's the reward. I know for myself, I wouldn't want to be doing anything else right now.
So how do you balance, your own personal responsibilities with this? You are still working, you tell me you're still working, part-time. You have family responsibilities too. Mm-hmm. How do you make it work?
It's a real balancing act. I don't know if you've ever played Jenga, but sometimes it feels a little bit like that.
Yeah.
You just have to try your best, right? Everybody's feeling it. I don't know. I haven't heard from a single person who hasn't sat there and said, I've had a bad day. I know I've had them. I know where I've had to step away from the computer and tear at my hair, and it's fine. It's hard out there. It's really difficult. You hear sad stories. You're encountering people who are being personally impacted by this. You just have to try your best. That's all anyone's asking for right now. And that's been my approach. My employer has been pretty understanding. And I think that learning how to balance things like this is very important. You need to take your community obligations, the responsibility you have to everyone in your neighborhood, and balance that out in your work and life. Your family will understand, and as long as the good work is being done, you're going to have that little extra boost of energy. And when you don't, that's okay too.
What's the best part of being involved in Caremongers?
Oh, it's definitely the people. Some of the volunteers, they have amazing stories. Sometimes they're very sad. Sometimes they're really inspiring. And just seeing people rise to the occasion, the ingenuity and resourcefulness that people have, the things that they can find for people, it's really remarkable. But definitely the best is when, you pick up the phone and you're hearing from someone who's a senior and they just say thank you. They've had an opportunity to have a little bit of companionship, talk with someone on the phone, get something that they need. And not just seniors, it's everyone. When you get someone who's thankful and grateful, it can turn any bad day good.
That is a good way of seeing things for sure. Now, you said it's not just delivering food. I've heard you mention services and repairs. Do you get a lot of calls for that?
Not a lot. It's more of an ad hoc thing. So when someone comes to us with a question, we're going to do our best to try to find what's out there. It's a volunteer organization. Sometimes we can't promise anything, but sometimes if someone's having an issue with the stove, you just make a call out to the community, and within a little bit, you're able to put someone in contact with a repair person who's willing to quote them out and offer a good price, or you're able to get someone in contact with an agency in Durham Region that they weren't familiar with.
Okay. Zach, believe it or not, we are out of time. Thank you so much, sir. I'm going to let you go so you can get on with your day and spread the joy, spread the help. All the best to you, and thank you again for all you do.
All right. Well, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk about Caremongers Oshawa and Clarington.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Okay. Stay with us. We have more on our COVID-19 local update after the break.
Illness doesn't have to be a life sentence. Join me each week on Health 180 with Carrie and Fenn as we talk with doctors and other experts about how to reset your life after an illness. Learn health and wellness tips, patient stories, advice, and solutions from professionals on how to be the best you. Together we are stronger. That's Health 180 with Carrie and Fenn right here on Rogers TV.
We are now over 2 months into this pandemic where we have been self-isolating. And for many of us, we're beginning to feel the effects of being cooped up with limited options to work out and to de-stress. Joining us now is Mandy Dolley. She is with Goodlife Fitness. She is a group fitness program manager. Mandy, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on. Welcome to my home.
Now, for many, if you're used to going to a gym and being incredibly active, this has posed some real challenges. I didn't go to the gym that often, but I'm telling you, I am feeling the effects of being cooped up and going a little stir crazy, I think.
100%. So it takes us out of our schedule, number one, but then the physical and the physiological and the psychological benefits of moving our bodies with varied intensity is also gone as well if we haven't been able to incorporate it at the same sort of intensity within our homes and with our schedules changing, whether we're working from home or we are just kind of self-isolating at home or our children are here. So it is all over the map what we're feeling. And of course, the physical benefit of moving our body, the number one benefit is actually making us feel happier. So we're all feeling a little bit stir crazy. The weather is finally cooperating so that we can get outside and hopefully stay within those physical distancing parameters, but also just the limitations in regards to equipment and how we're going to get our fitness in while self-isolating at home, for sure. And the gyms are closed.
Yeah, and if you do go to a gym and you're used to, using their weights, you take a look at what you've got at home and you don't even know where to begin or what could work instead.
Yes.
Let's start with your workspace at home. If many of us have very small homes or we're in a small apartment or a condo, what sort of space requirement do you really need to get a good workout at home?
I thought you really, in my opinion, you really just need the space of a yoga mat and a little bit of space around you. If you have a set of stairs, it's an extra bonus that you can do that cardio, just kind of coming up and down the stairs with adding some strength component to that as well. But really, you can get a great workout, cardio, strength, core, mobility, flexibility, and balance in the space with just a yoga mat.
Earlier, before this interview, we were talking about cardio, flexibility, strength, and balance, as you said. And you said there's a difference between each one in regards to what the muscles remember and what we can skip a day on and what we should not skip a day on.
100%. So in the components of fitness, and there are varied numbers of components depending on, what you search. But really, when we think about strength in our muscles actually has a memory for about 6 weeks. And we're a few weeks past that. So hopefully we've been able to do some strength work. And you know what? Holding up our own body weight is strength work. Our muscles still have to activate. But the strength of, if you had like the best chest press of 80 kilograms or something, those muscles will remember that for up to 6 weeks. Our cardio strength as well, the muscle of our heart and our lungs together working to deliver oxygen to our muscles, also has a bit of a memory. But what doesn't have a memory, and I think often we forget about things of training, flexibility and balance. So I don't know how many of you can just stand on one leg. This is a very functional piece to fitness, as well as giving our lives a whole lot of vitality and longevity, as well as the flexibility. And those are the first two things that we lose as we age, and really important to practice.
Okay, well, I'm going to hand this over to you now, because you are going to show us some easy exercises that we can do at home that really give us a bang for our buck, or the time that we can spend at home.
So first I'll start with, I roamed around my house. I do have a few pieces of fitness equipment, But I was challenging myself to find some things around the house that aren't really fitness equipment. So what I found, of course, were 2 water bottles, and they're the exact same size, and I filled them up with water. And of course, we can use those as hand weights to do a lot of the exercises that we know and love with resistance. So it's just a little bit more than our body weight using those, or even soup cans.
How often should you do that, and how many reps a day?
It really depends on what you're training for. If they're fairly light, I would do probably about 15 reps, take a break, go on, do something else, and come back and do a circuit of about 4 different exercises. And I'll show you a little circuit
Okay.
Well, for sure, but you can exhaust your muscles. You can do it until you're tired and then put it down. What's important to know is that every effort needs to be celebrated. Every little bit counts. If we could schedule just 20 minutes a day of moving our bodies, we should be really celebrating that and feeling successful with that effort. Another thing that I found, of course, and I don't know about you, Deborah, but one of my favorite books, of course. And
Of course, yes.
we can use that for a tricep extension. So we can come with our elbows really close by our ears and actually work the back of our arms. And I know the ladies really love to do this. So if you can have a giant book around, you can use that as your weight. You can use this as well in regards to squats. So keeping that close to your chest and coming down into the legs, and using the legs as your biggest return on investment in regards to energy in and results out, because we're lifting and lowering our body weight. Also, really popular right now are these banded exercises. Well, I've got a hack. Very shortly after our shutdown, I thought, what can we use for those bands? Because we love to use bands in our workouts. You can use a pair of pantyhose.
Nice.
You're gonna wrap them around your thighs. Give them a little tie. I should know a different color. Black is my favorite. But I just wrapped it above my knee, about a fist distance above. You can come into your squat and do that great booty workout, even without a band.
Great idea.
Yeah. All right. So you can really find lots of things to do. I would go ahead and add, that would be probably the best addition if you don't have one of those bands, to find some pantyhose or some old tights. Even your kids' tights will work. Mm-hmm. So it's a great idea. Oh, and then this one, and there's a little disclaimer on this. Don't swing around chemicals in your house.
No.
Make sure that it is, I fill them with water, but you might also have some like windshield washer jugs in your garage maybe. Mm-hmm. You can, if they're empty, then fill them with water. Do not swing chemicals around your house. And we can do kettlebell work with
kettlebells. There you go.
We can also do some single arm rows, which I'll show you as well. But
I'd be sweating and out of breath by now, I'll tell you.
I'm getting there. Once you talk and move, it's a challenge. But there's so many things that you can do with just that limited amount of equipment. And sometimes if you don't have anything, you can still use your body weight as resistance, and then adding either balance or jumping or intensity to increase the energy output. I also think about people who are sitting at their desks or in front of the television a lot more than normal. Mm-hmm. And I just have my hand towel from my bathroom, and it's a really good practice. If we do not have the flexibility, mobility in our shoulders to actually clasp our hands behind our back, use a towel. This should really be done about 3 times a day, especially if you're sitting at your computer or on a tablet, on a screen. Really great to open up the shoulders and the front of your chest and allow you to actually get that stretch in. So really important. And I know that our golfers are very happy to be back in swing, and it's a really great tool. Imagine that you could have your golf club. You could also do your twists and a little bit of warming through your shoulders, chest, and torso. So that being said, I was going to do about 5 exercise circuit with my home equipment.
Okay. We've only got about 3.5 minutes left, so take it away.
Then let me talk about the mobility and flexibility of our bodies. And I'll come down to the yoga mat and show you sun salutation sequence that will really open up getting through our hips, but also work our core and our upper body strength. So it is your one-stop shop. So I'm going to come down to the yoga mat here. I'll likely just turn it. We usually start our sun salutations at the top of our mat or wherever you have. You don't need a mat, but it's pretty great for traction and spacing. Just take a big breath in, opening through your shoulders and chest, diving forward. So we bend our knees a lot here, and some of us, this might be a challenge to even touch the floor. So take your time with it. We're gonna take 1 foot back into a lunge, maybe drop the knee if we need to. We'll push into the hands, take the other foot back to down dog, or the option is child's pose. Both poses really great for your lower back and hamstrings. From here, we lift the heels and come forward, shoulders over wrists, drop the knees, and we come halfway down. So this is our plank, or what we call crocodile. We come all the way down, squeeze the back body, and that's a strength move. Tuck your toes back to down dog. Bend your knees, and it's a big step back up to the top of the mat. So if we need to, we help our foot, drop into the hips, and then step in. Looking to the shins here, finding length in the back of your legs, bending your knees, and rising up. And we would do that on both sides. And I would recommend to do it 3 times on each side of the body, and take all the time you need and use all the breath that you have to complete the movement. And all of a sudden you'll just feel warmer, more open, more ease of movement.
So if every day is not an option, because there are people out there, our first responders, our frontline workers who are busier than ever, how many times a week should we be trying to fit a workout in?
100%. I think a good goal is 3 times a week for concentrated physical activity. But we have to also give ourselves credit, especially if we have a physical job, such as a first responder, going in and out of houses, like lifting people, or even the equipment that they have on their body is very rigorous if they're moving with a weighted vest, or the equipment that they have on their bodies. I would say 3 times a week would be great, and it is about consistency. So first we think about safety, then we think about consistency, and really being accountable to ourselves. And I think I've said this to you before, is we don't have to have it all figured out. I don't need a whole big program for fitness. We don't have to have it all figured out to take our next best step forward. So just doing something really good for yourself, celebrating that, feeling good about implementing something more than we did yesterday, will get us further along in that longevity and sustained vitality for our long and healthy good life.
Words to live by, wise words to live by. Thanks so much, Mandy Dolley from Goodlife Fitness, for joining us, and thanks to you, our viewers, for joining us. Until next time, I'm Deborah Hutchison. Stay home, stay safe, everyone.